So, along with the update, they made some tweaks to the game. Would like to check those out to make sure we're up to speed. Duos and map rotation. Actually saw. So they said, okay, people are asking about, okay, well, we got duos. What about solos? Apex says, when we introduced solos as a limited time mode last year, we saw it negatively impact the game, especially when it came to new player retention. Yeah, well, that makes sense because new players, like if you're brand new to the game, you're kind of counting on getting carried by your teammates while you're learning. So obviously, solos would not be great for new players because you would just get stomped very easily. That's another thing I was noticing along with playing Counter-Strike the other day and then watching people play Valorant. I do feel like Apex does a really good job at making sure the better player always wins. And what I mean by that is like a very, very high-skilled player in Apex will pretty much never die to a lower-ranked person. Whereas like in Counter-Strike or Valorant, you know, it's like one bullet kills you. So you literally can get killed by someone who just installed the game and is terrible at gaming. So that's a big difference, and probably a reason why a lot of people do like Apex is because once you do get high skill, you're able to impose dominance over lesser players at a very high percentage. Whereas in Counter-Strike, yes, you can impose dominance, but it requires like you and your 4 sweatiest teammates at all times to be able to do that. Yeah, so like NRG's team in Valorant's going to be able to dump on any new team, obviously. But like if you throw one of them in like a pub, like they can get crapped on. Where like if you throw like a really top level player in Apex in a pub, they're generally going to be able to dominate. I don't know. Just a difference in gameplay and something that I do like about Apex and the time to kill. Yeah, so that makes sense why they're not interested in doing solos. But when we played solos, some Legends abilities became useless. All right, so they're saying also solos, Legends become useless. Yeah, because everyone's just going to run Path and Wraith. So that does make sense. These are just some reasons we decided not to include solos in today's update. Makes sense. Makes sense. We know players want to experience map variety. And we will introduce map rotation, including World's Edge, Kings Canyon, and the different variations of Kings Canyon. Okay. We want to keep queue times as short as possible, which is why we decided to go with rotation versus selection. Yeah, that's what I was saying as well. If you could select which map to play, the queue times would increase because there's no cross-play, no cross-platform. So, yeah, queue times are always going to be an issue in this game, especially if you recall, Call of Duty with their 20 different game modes died very quickly because none of the queues would ever be filled. That was Black Ops 4 on PC. RIP. All right, so Newtown Takeover. The Bloodhound Trials. So, yeah, as you guys all know by now, there's going to be like a PvE area in the map. And you can go there. It's kind of like a vault where you go in, you walk inside, and you can kill some of these creatures, and then like the vault opens, and you can get the fat loot. But on top of that, the G7 got a nerf. G7 reduced headshot from 2 multiplier to 1.75. Reduced the leg shot from 0.9 to 0.75. And slightly reduced projectile speed. So the bullets travel slower. And the bullets do less damage, generally. L-Star will reset its view kick pattern. Goes unpredictable feathering trigger. So think L-Star gets a slight control buff, but at the same time, it gets a slight nerf in how many shots it can shoot. So it'll be easier to control, but shoots less shots before overheating. No one used the L-Stars, so it doesn't really matter. Kraber headshots increased from 2 to 3. So now players with red shields and damage reduction will die in 1 headshot. So everybody in the game will die from Kraber headshot. That's good. Sniper ammo reduced from 10 to 8 when you pick it up, and the stack size is reduced from 20 to 16. I'm not sure that was necessary. I don't think snipers were overpowered, and I feel like sniper ammo was already hard to come by, especially in ranked when there's not that much loot to begin with. But that being said, they did increase the loot on Kings Canyon, so maybe there will be more ammo in general. Limb shots on low profile legends now deal as much damage as body shots. So low profile characters, Wraith, Lifeline, Path, Revenant, etc. now got an additional nerf. They take additional damage now when they get shot in the limbs. So they're buffing Gibraltar, Caustic, Mirage, all the characters that are not considered low profile. Probably needed because I think the low profile characters still are used 90% of the time. Revenant gets a big buff. Revenant's silence now is increased from 10 seconds. So like you threw that little orb and it would silence your enemies. Now it lasts 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds. So that's pretty crazy. So like if you hit a Wraith with the little orb, they cannot phase or do any type of portaling or anything for 20 seconds. So that's a pretty big game changer. It also now silences Gibraltar's gun shield and increase the duration area of effect. So like when you throw the little ball, it sits on the ground and like spins for a second. You used to do it for 5 seconds, now it does it for 10 seconds. You also have 2 charges now. So like Bangalore has 2 smokes that she can shoot. Revenant now has 2 orbs that he can throw. So he's going to be silencing everybody. So that's pretty big actually. So he'll be able to silence basically when you want to push a team and you don't want the Pathfinder like grappling to Narnia and you don't want the Wraith just turning invisible and like making you go crazy, you literally can just silence everybody if you can throw the orbs near them, and they're going to be in place for 20 seconds, not being able to do anything. The Death Totem got a buff. Now you respawn with 50 health. You used to go back to the totem and only have 1 health, so 50 is a huge increase. I was thinking like 10 would be enough, but 50 is going to be pretty huge. So I think Revenant definitely needed that. It'll be interesting. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I think Revenant's going to be playable now. Removed low profile from Revenant? Damn. That's pretty big. I didn't even see that. So Revenant is now considered a normal, like a normal hitbox, so he doesn't take increased damage. Damn. That's pretty huge, actually. That's almost as big as like all this stuff combined. Because the increased damage sucks on low profile characters. Damn. Okay, Revenant. Lifeline has a secondary passive, can access secret compartments and loot bins. So there's going to be new loot bins that have like a blue, they're like a rare loot bin, and Lifeline can now access a secret compartment with additional loot. That's pretty cool. She'll be the only one that can do that. The secondary compartments contain a mixture of health items, weapons, attachments, and knockdown shields. Very cool. I like that. I like little abilities like that. Little unique abilities in the game are very cool. Wraith's portals now disappear after 4 seconds when in the circle. Yes, that's huge. That's a nerf to Wraith. So in the end game, when the ring got like super super tiny, you could make these wraith portals that like zigzagged like 1,000 times, and people would just basically take them like 10 times so that you wouldn't take any ring damage, and you could just keep portaling back and forth when the ring was like the size like a 5-foot circle. So now you can't do that anymore. Duh. Like what? Ooh, I can't believe why did they let that happen in the first place? Wow. Respawn. Wow. They woke up. Let's go. Evo armor got a buff. It now requires less damage to increase the level. So like when it goes to blue, it used to take 100 damage. Now you only have to do 75 damage to increase it to blue armor. To make it a purple armor, you used to have to do 300. Now you only have to do 150. That's pretty wild. So it's gonna be super easy to get to purple armor on the Evo shield. Like way easier than it was. It's still risky at first when you only have like the one shield bar. But yeah, it's gonna be Evo armor got a pretty big buff. And then King's Canyon got increased total loot overall, which I said earlier, which is pretty big. Bunch of bug fixes. That's great. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I wish they would do these like every 2 weeks. Like that's a really good update. Sweet.